3, 2, 1.
Boom! And welcome to the Big Honker Podcast. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world famous Andy Shaver.
That's right. That's right. I'm here, fresh from Mexico. Got a tan, got a nice base layer. Spanish is a little bit better now, so I'm here.
Was it busy down there?
Ready to go. No.
I've heard it's really slow right now in the resorts.
It is slow. It's that time of year, though, for Americans. They're busy.
What's busier now than in any other time of the year?
Right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's so busy in America right now that's different than any other time of the year?
School. School would be it. School, football. Parents can't get away. It's tough.
Well, Mexico's not for kids. Okay, with us today.
Well, I didn't say it was, but kids are busy.
This podcast is sponsored by the Looking Glass Duck Club. We have a hunt giveaway. You have to be a member of the Looking Glass Duck Club to win the hunt. It's November 10th, 11th, and 12th, I believe, is a Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So hop on over at the Looking Glass Duck Club. They're on Patreon. Check them out, and you can win the hunt. With us today from Maine, Idaho, Hagan Ekker. How are you doing, sir?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Did I pronounce the name right and everything?
Yes, sir.
See, I always fuck that all up. So, see, I'm ahead of myself. I love that moose behind you. That's one badass mount.
Yeah, I kind of picked a good spot to sit in the kitchen this morning.
That's a good looking mount. So you guide in Mexico?
Yeah, I do a bit of big game hunting down there. Desert bighorn sheep, mule deer, coos deer. Do some Gould's turkeys every once in a while too.
What's the wildest shit you've encountered down there? Because I know you've had to have something.
I mean, I don't know how long a podcast you got. I mean, it depends on a few different things. I worked for an outfitter down there that just couldn't tell the truth about it, damn thing. And we was always getting sideways with people. We'd show up to a ranch and shoot something, and run into the ranch owner, and the bill hadn't been paid for us to even be over there.
Oof.
Stuff like that. Had a pretty hairy instance. Probably one of the closest ones down there. We was hunting a ranch kind of near a main highway, and had some guys that it was kind of when I first broke out on my own down there, about the first week actually, and had a couple guys. We was hunting a right off a main highway, and there was a big hill kind of out in the middle of the ranch, and we were out there glassing on it and heard some gunshots, back over towards the highway. And so me and one of the driver kids I had hired, we drove over there to see if they was poaching deer or whatever, and got over to the side of the road there and found two guys dead laying there, been shot in the head, and another guy had been shot 2-3 times in the chest and guts, And about then a truck come back over the hill coming towards us, and I kind of stepped out and put my hand up, kind of waved at him. I didn't know if it was, body cleanup services or
right.
Whatever whatever protocol is. And about as soon as they seen me, and I could really tell what they were doing, guns come out all the windows.
Whoops.
And I run and hit the dirt, and just gunshots right over the top of us.
Jeez.
And they went right past us and stopped, and my little buddy Martin, he was standing up, like waving them down or whatever, and they come kind of pulling back up, and he walked out there with his hands up, wondering what was going on, and they started yelling, sorry, and whatnot, and got talking it out, and one of the guys they shot, they thought it was me standing there, still alive, so they was coming back to finish him off. And turns out they were pretty bad dudes. They'd been raping chicks. They was trying to get across the border and stealing money from people, and worse than the worst people, I guess.
The people that got shot were, or the people that were doing the shooting?
The people that got shot,
They
were, not respectable cartel guys, I guess.
Vigilante justice.
Yeah, I guess so.
Street justice.
They shook hands and said sorry and drove off on their way, and we went back hunting deer.
My bad.
Yeah.
Chalk this up to a big misunderstanding. We're sorry.
Yeah.
So did you have a lot of dealings with the cartels when you've been down there?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, everything's, pretty square. As long as you're, take care of paying your bill or whatever, and, not trying to do anything sideways outside of them. I mean, there was places that we'd hunt that they'd call you, hey, no hunting on Wednesdays. We're busy on Wednesdays over there, or, something like that. Or, hey, don't show up tomorrow. We got something wrong, or, something like that. But then for the most part, all them guys were, fairly nice, and a lot of them enjoyed hunting with us, and they'd ride right along with us. Sometimes they'd have their guns strapped up or whatever. So,
So it wasn't it wasn't any big deal to you to hunt with the cartel? Like you never were worried about like the other shoe to drop and them to take you out or anything?
I mean, at the start, it's a little unnerving, but not crazy. You mind your P's and Q's, and don't go down certain areas at night and stuff like that. I mean, it's perfectly fine and safe. A lot of the stuff I talk about, and whatnot, kind of happens behind the scenes type of deal. Like, hunter clients and stuff would never run into that. That's kind of stuff that I'd be taking care of without anyone around, making sure everything's up and safe and stuff like that.
Being an American, I don't know how it's going to be now, especially since Trump's talking about taking troops into Mexico to attack these cartel members. I just saw that Friday that he said he was going to do that probably. So, but being an American kind of gives you a safety shield because they don't want to hurt an American because it could come down on them.
Yeah, that was always kind of mentioned, still is. They don't want the heat that would come from something like that. I mean, they might rob you, kick the shit out of you, something like that. But I would doubt they would just straight up kill anyone. I'd hate to say never, but you never know.
My biggest fear would be getting caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. Something goes down. A rival cartel has to come over to where you are. And now when you're out in the middle of nowhere, I'm assuming when these guys are around you, you kind of feel safe, kind of like you got some bodyguards around you.
Yeah, for sure. And then, if, one of the boss guys is out there hanging out, we had a guy that would, he'd come sheep hunting with us and he'd be wearing like a velvet tracksuit and like a gold chain and shit, like, man, he was all about it. I mean, he'd be climbing up on a hill trying to glass for us for sheep and stuff. And like, but then we'd have 10, 12 of his, bodyguard guys out there. And it's like, nothing's going to happen today. But, I mean, it's a culture thing down there in Sonora too. I mean, mule deer hunting is a pretty big deal, and sheep hunting has gotten a lot more popular the last, several years. And so it's, it's respected too. I mean, a lot of times in the winter, they're not doing as much, gangster games out in the desert in the winter because it's cold and, whatnot. But then they kind of respect that there's hunters out and about too. So they'll kind of, do less stuff out there or whatever, whatever they're doing that day. If they're running people or flying planes or whatever, they might not do it because you're out there hunting.
America is in love with the narco guy because it's so, I don't even know the word. It's just not something we're ever going to be around. So you get caught up into that lifestyle or just wanting to know more about it. To me, I'm just mesmerized by this whole thing. And you're thinking, this is an evil guy that just kills thousands of people and don't think nothing about it. And I'm thinking, that'd be so freaking cool to see the guy in his tracksuit there and his gold chains. And now, did you ever get to go to any of the houses where they live at or anything? Did you ever get invited to like the boss man's house?
Oh yeah. Yeah. We'd show up to one guy, like we had to pay, our lease for the ranch. We're paying for our deer tags or sheep tags or whatever. And we'd have to go there and pay him and pull up to this, like, it's through the shithole. Like everyone thinks you go to Mexico and they think of Cancun and, Cabo, whatever. But when you're out in the desert and like the little towns or whatever, it's just a ghetto shithole, just third world country. And then you turn down a street that's guarded and there's a palace there, and he's got Hummers and Hellcats and stuff out front and palm trees and a bunch of dudes standing around. And you go inside to pay him and he's got marble ceilings, and chandeliers as big as a damn VW bug. And the one guy actually who got over there and he had a pet white tiger.
Shit.
I have a picture of me holding this like white tiger. It's a big hit on the Tinder and Bumble pages. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Did they have the hot chicks running around in bikinis like you see on Narcos Mexico all over there in the house or something? Or is it?
No, not really. So like at their house, that they lived in and whatnot, their family would be there. And, there's really a big respect aspect on a lot of that stuff too. They don't have the drugs and the guns and the women running around right at the, the family house type of deal. You'd have to, maybe go to their boat or one of the hotels they own or, something like that before you'd get into into that stuff. But no, when it was around the house, it's kind of really family oriented, and they're barbecuing and stuff. It's almost like a damn Fast and the Furious, like when they're barbecuing in the yard and drinking. Not really Coronas. That's really not a big thing down there. It's Tecates.
Yep.
So, but
it's funny. The driver. So we had we just got back from the Acapulco, and the first driver we had, we sit down and he's like, I said, "How you doing today?" And he's Inglés poquito. And I said, "Oh well, shit, Spanish poquito." So we didn't talk at all. The first driver, and then the second driver that took us back to the airport, he was fluent. But we got to talking about what we did here, and told him, we hunted and everything, and he was asking, he was very interested, but and he said he does a little bit of deer hunting, but we were talking about bird hunting, particular, because that's mainly what we do here, ducks and geese. And I told him, he asked like, "What do you use to shoot them?" And I told him a shotgun, and he's like, "Does that not just explode the birds?" And I'm like, "No, it's not really that gruesome." And then we started talking about helicopter hog hunting, because we had a Gold Star event out here for a bunch of kids, and they did some helicopter hog hunting. And again, he was like, "Does that not do these rifles? They just not like make the pig explode?" And I'm like, "No."
What the hell are you shooting, howitzers?
Yeah, I don't know what I don't know what they've seen down there as far as hunting. And this guy's deer hunted before, he said, so I don't know, maybe he didn't get anything.
Huh.
But
the big thing too is like when they have them shootings, they all shoot really shitty ammo. They got old Chinese FMJs and stuff like that. And you'll see some of these guys that's been in shootings, they get shot 11, 12, 13 times, and they're, fine, because they're just getting pinholed by, 5.56 FMJ or something. But
yeah, this guy had no clue. He just thought anytime you hit something with a shotgun or an AR-15, that whatever it was just blew up.
I imagine he wasn't in any shit.
No, right? Yeah, he's not shooting anybody, which I felt safe with him.
Do the cartel guys? What kind? You said they're shooting shitty guns, so
shitty ammo.
They're not running top of the line stuff.
Shitty ammo,
right?
I mean, there is some. I mean, you'll actually see some of the military guys have some of the worst equipment I've ever seen. I had a story. I run into a group of them guys, and they had like see-through magazines on their guns. And half the time when we'd have to have them sign papers, when we're bringing guns in, half the time they wouldn't have bullets in them. They wouldn't even be loaded. And I had a guy pull me over one day and was just being a dick. And so I was reciprocating to him. And so he racked his gun. He didn't even have a mag in the gun, racked it. And it was like an old, I'm not a big gun nut, but like an old M4 maybe or something. And when he racked it, the slide barely went back in, but he didn't have a mag in it. So I knew he didn't have a bullet in it either when he racked it.
Right. And
he put it right up to my forehead and just being an ass. And, I was just kind of leaning into it and telling him to fuck off and, all that. And I didn't even think that thing would have gone off if he would have had a bullet, as slow as that slide went back and stuff. But no, I mean, a lot of the stuff, the guys that are running around, kind of the boots on the ground guys, they have some really shitty equipment. I've seen some sawed off shotguns that are busted in half. Like if you accidentally ran a high brass shell through there, it'd blow that whole receiver apart, or something, and the bullets they have, like I've been down there dove hunting and duck hunting quite a bit, and really low quality plastic shells, and that's what they're still using to shoot at people or whatever.
It's funny. I've heard so many people say, I don't understand why the Mexican people don't overthrow all these drug cartels. I don't think they realize what squalors those people live in and survive. I call it surviving, because they don't even live. They live in mud huts, basically, a lot of them with a tin roof.
Oh yeah. I mean, you get into places, an hour out of the border, and it's no different than the bush of Zimbabwe. I've been to both and all over Africa and stuff. And I mean, there's just as bad in, Altar or Sarek or Kaborka, even, just towns that are within a couple hours of the border.
Yeah, there's nothing there for them. So the drugs is the only chance they get to get out of that squalor for a lot of those people.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's, they pick up some side work here. There's always just people lingering around, some of them richer dudes' houses trying to sweep the dirt. That's a big thing down there. We kind of make fun of all the time. There's always a guy that's sweeping the dirt
all the time.
all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everywhere.
Anytime. And that's even that way. We've been to Costa Rica a couple of times.
Yep.
And it's not much, it's not a whole lot better, but I tell you what, they take pride in their shit. And like, they're always, every morning you drive through town and they're all sweeping off their stoop. And you're like, how fucking dirty could this thing have gotten last
overnight?
night?
Yeah.
But they all do it.
And using the same dirty broom from yesterday.
Right. Yeah. It's like, it's 100% humidity here. I don't think the dust is a problem right now, but every morning that's just how they start their day. You got coffee and a broom. So they're just going to clean this shit off.
Yeah.
So do you have a lodge there
in Mexico?
Yes.
Yeah. I've got one place I work at now. He's pretty good dude. He's actually been up here hunting elk with me in Idaho and stuff. So he basically runs his outfit, with however many clients he gets, and then whatever clients I book, I take over there and guide them or whatever. Sometimes I'll just send guys with him and stuff, real honest, trustworthy guy, does a bunch of other business stuff that's not nefarious.
Is it harder to get clients over there right now, or is everybody pretty comfortable with things? Because, like, I'll be honest with you, like 5 years ago, I'd been to Mexico when I was a teenager, and then I didn't go for a while, and I'd heard just all these horrible things on the news. And then we started taking an end of hunting season trip there in Mexico every year, and we've never had a problem. The airport, I've never felt unsafe, right? Yeah. And I think these people that have problems in Mexico are doing some shit that they probably shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, I mean, I tell guys even now, even with my stories and stuff like that, like I've spent so much time down there. I actually have a work visa, like a dual citizenship work visa type deal, and you're not going to run into that type of stuff if you're not, trying to find new areas, trying to find new business at, places to hunt, things like that. If you book a hunt with someone that's reputable, crossing the I's, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, you shouldn't have a problem. I tell people I'll take my grandma down there tomorrow.
Right.
But I mean, if you want to go see a body and see some people getting shot at, we can go do that too.
That is also there.
I've never been nervous in Mexico. And looking back, when I was in college, we used to go to Puerto Vallarta every year. And a couple of years, we rented a Jeep, me and 4 dumbass friends of mine, and we drove all through the mountains up north of Puerto Vallarta, all through the mountains over there. Yeah. Or south, beautiful, I guess it was. But you know what's crazy is when I went back and watched Narcos Mexico a couple of years ago, that's where all the bad shit was going on, right where we were driving, those little towns and shit. And we were oblivious and bulletproof, we thought, and just didn't think nothing of it. And we could have disappeared. Nobody had ever known where we were at. But
the other thing down there is the network of people watching and stuff is so, you look at it, it's like so archaic. It's kids with radio in town. It's dudes living on a mountain with a radio and a spot and scope or something like that. They knew you were coming. They knew you were white, not an issue. It's crazy how well that is actually in place. A lot of places, they know you were coming up the road before you knew where you were going up the road. Mm-hmm. So
I feel a lot safer in Puerto Vallarta than I do in Cancun. Now, when we go to Cancun now, we always stay at Isla Mujeres, and I always feel safe there because it's an island. But Cancun proper, I do not feel safe in Cancun at all. No more than I would feel in south side of Chicago or in Baltimore. Same feeling.
Yeah. But it's exactly, it's the same with cities here. My guy I hunt with now and whatnot, he, people ask him about it being safe. And he's like, the only time I've ever been mugged was in Memphis. They had a hunting expo or something they had years ago or something at the pyramid there, and it's the same thing. I mean, I avoid, I'm going to Cancun, in February, hunting oscillated turkeys and stuff. And, I mean, I hate the cities. I hate, being in the big towns, Cabo, stuff like that. That's where you're going to get mugged, robbed, or, I'm not pretty enough to be roofied, so.
Yeah, I'm roofie proof myself.
Yeah. I've worked hard on that. That takes actually years of dedication to get to where no one wants to rape you.
Yeah.
When we, this last trip, when we went to Acapulco, we landed in the airport and we didn't even get into Cancun because it was south, and I guess the Cancun airport's on the south side of Cancun, so we booked it straight on the highway and we never even went through Cancun.
It ain't like when we go to Isla and you got to go through the middle.
You know,
of that
you got to
shit.
go through the fucking barrio to get to your boat to get to Isla. Whenever you do the oscillated turkeys, where do you go for that? Like you'll be in Cancun. Will you go north of Cancun or you go south of Cancun?
It's north up towards Campeche and stuff.
Okay.
I usually just go down. Like I'll go down for like 4 days early this year and golf a bit and tan my ass on the beach and then I'm actually going to drive up to Campeche. Usually take a hopper plane up there, but I'm going to drive and see all them them ruins and stuff like that.
You going to go to Holobox? Is that the name of it?
I don't know how to say some of that stuff. Yeah, like the big temples.
No, that's
stuff
Chichen. Like there's a new place called Holobox. I think's the name of it. I know I'm pronouncing it wrong, but they say it's going to be the new Cancun or the new Isla. They said it's a smaller place and it's just getting started. It's absolutely beautiful, but it's north of Cancun. I swear it's called Holobox, Holibox. But it is the new place to go. It's an older town, but it's starting to get some attention. A lot of young people don't realize that Cancun wasn't even around until 1972 or something. They built it. The Mexican government built it as a resort.
Oh yeah.
Isla Holobox is what it's called.
Holobox?
Holobox. Holbox.
Yeah, that's the new place to go to.
And it's like an island.
Like a damn video game.
Yeah, it's like an island also. North of Chiquila.
Okay.
You got to go across a bay.
Yeah, Holobox. It's on Yumbalam Island or whatever the hell it is. Anyways, I've seen pictures of it. It's really a pretty place, but that's going to be a hell of a drive because every time we fly through, we come in and you come in on that south entrance into Cancun from the airport and you drive over that jungle and it's funny. You'll notice there'll be a road and then all of a sudden there'll be a palace in the middle of nowhere and then nothing again.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Mayan ruins? Have you seen the Mayan ruins?
I have not. No, I've been to Cancun golfing and partying a bit, and that's about it.
Well, let me tell you, I went there when I was a kid, and I went there again, and not much has changed. And this time we had a tour guide that took his job very, very seriously, so we got to know everything about the Mayans. But it was funny because one of the first things he said to us is, that everybody tells you that the Spaniards defeated the Mayans, and that's just not really what happened. And I'm like, okay, well, if you have to say that your people didn't get conquered by, this other people that you're now speaking their language.
Yeah, you're speaking Spanish now, dog.
You probably were conquered. You can hang on to that belief if you want. Maybe you gave up willingly, but more than likely they took what they wanted.
I can guarantee you one thing. You'll never, ever see a Mayan Olympic basketball team.
No. And that's when we walked in the place, I felt pretty safe because they're all like 4 foot tall.
Yeah, they're
like, you want to start some shit? We can do it. I'm about 3 feet taller than everybody here.
Sonia's got to be. We got a girl that works for her. She has to be Mayan. She looks just like him, 5 foot tall.
But it is cool though. Like he said that. Once again, I'm getting his perspective of things, but the Mayans were one of the first civilizations that found or invented the number 0. They had a whole mathematics system that included the number 0. So I felt like that was pretty cool. But he tried to explain like where they went in the afterlife, and you had heaven, but you also had the underworld, and you got to go to both for a year. I don't know. I still. The mosquitoes were getting me.
Out, see what you like.
Yeah, the mosquitoes were getting me, and my wife was asking questions, and I'm like, we've got to fucking move. I'm about to get ate alive here.
Yeah.
But it was cool, though. I mean, the shit that they built, it's amazing. And like he was telling us, like the rocks were not from there, so they had to walk, several miles and basically carry these rocks back. And
you get on any Joe Rogan podcast right now, you'll get a whole earful full of
right,
conspiracy, and God, after an hour of listening to something like that, it starts making a little sense too.
Well, it is crazy because there's a Netflix series about like just the pyramids. Like if you just take that shape in general, you had the pyramids over in Egypt, but you also had basically like every civilization around that time was building pyramids that all like they built them to where the fall and spring equinox line up here, the summer and winter solstice will line up here, and their windows. So I mean, it is kind of crazy. These ancient civilizations
back then,
right?
Smoke peyote and look at the stars and dream something up.
Look at the stars. But I'm telling you what, even with modern technology, I'm in the middle of remodel right now. There ain't no fucking way Like you could give me for the rest of my life. I couldn't build you 7 buildings that all line up perfectly with the spring and fall equinoxes. It ain't happening.
Go put that phone down.
Yeah, I mean it ain't happening, man.
There were some smart people, and we lost a lot of technology.
A lot of intelligence somewhere in there. The damn Spaniards, man. Even though that guy, he doesn't want to give them credit.
So, do your people? I'm assuming most of your people are flying in. Are they flying into Cabo? Where do they fly into to go to hunt with y'all?
No, for my Sonora stuff, I actually have people flying to Tucson, then we drive down.
How far is that?
4 or 5 hours, just kind of depends. But we've had way more issues at like the Hermosillo airport, losing bags and gun paperwork, and you get the guy wanting a $20 bill and shit like that than we have at the border, So just depends. Like if it's my first group of the year, when I'm headed down, I can get them in Phoenix, and it's not even much different as far as drive time, but I prefer to drive down across the border. Just because I hate airlines. American Airlines, one of the only ones that goes into Hermosillo, and American Airlines can suck me from the back. I fucking hate it, dude. I just got back from Maine last week hunting moose, and had to have I swapped my flight from Alaskan and whatnot right to American, and just absolute dog shit.
Just flying to Portland?
No, I flew into Bangor.
I just come back from up there in May. I love Maine. Or in July. I love Maine, but God Almighty, I'm fixing to get on a plane again next week. I hate flying, same as you, because it's always fucked up. My uncle, it's pretty funny. My uncle lived in Phoenix. Him and 3 other guys he worked with, and they owned a boat in the Gulf of California. And you never think about that when you're Port Penasco or whatever it is.
Port Penasco.
Yeah, you never think about people in America owning boats in Mexico on the ocean, but he did. And it was only it's only like a 3 or 4 hour drive from them to Port Penasco from Phoenix. So the getting across the border there is not a pain in the ass, or it is?
No, it's not. I go through like some smaller border crossings. There's a couple that are like a single lane. You never have to wait on no one type of deal. Depending on traffic or the holiday or whatever, I might go through a bigger one or something slick right through. But that's usually the easier route for me anyway. Now, when you were in Maine, did you have any luck? Yeah, I drew a moose tag out there and ended up shooting a moose out there on like the 3rd or 4th day. So is it hard hunting or not that, or is it pretty? Is there a lot of moose running around? Well, theoretically, that's what they advertise is moose running around like deer, so I actually went out there. I was out there sea duck hunting a few years ago and met a guy that's a bird taxidermist, and kept in touch with him. Went out there turkey hunting this spring, and then when the draw come out, I was looking for outfitters and stuff, but I wanted to go do it myself, and because I did my Alaskan, this moose here, I did that totally by myself, solo and everything, and I wanted to do the main one by myself, and couldn't find a very good rental truck company, and got talking to him, and he's like, well, shit, what are you going to do with like the meat and stuff? And logistics are way worse from Maine than they were in Alaska. Like I had all the meat shipped back last year for $600, frozen. And so I got talking with him, and he's like, well, if you want to get rid of some meat or whatever, you can leave it here and I'll borrow you my truck. And, and I'm like, well, shit, why don't you just go with me? And he had a cousin that had a cabin up there, and it was about an hour from the unit, which kind of sucked. We had to drive about an hour and a half each morning one way to kind of get to where we was trying to hunt. But the first couple of days we didn't see a moose, didn't hear a moose, found a few tracks. It was warm, and them guys just kind of, after Monday morning we get out and bail her out of the truck, didn't hear nothing. They're like, well, now what? Normally we kill one by now. And when I told them to start dropping me off, like, I was walking some timber cuts and, some swamp areas, pulling up onyx and finding some roadless areas and, pushing some timber, trying to find something, I'm there. I'm going to do something to try to find a moose. They were like, oh shit, I hope you don't kill one down there, because we normally winch them up to the truck. I was like, well, I got my backpack. We'll figure it out, And yeah, luckily I didn't kill one in a couple of them spots I walked into, because the amount of deadfall and stuff like that is just insane. But no, and then them guys were all gung-ho, and each day it was just less and less enthusiasm and a little more drinking in the evening, and like it was like Wednesday, and they were all like, hey, we got to kind of go tomorrow. We didn't plan on having to take this long to actually see a moose. I'm like, whoa, shit. And sure enough, Wednesday night, pulled out to the end of a road. I walked down in there and started bellering, and her one was down in the trees, and he come quick, but I kind of met him halfway and shot him, and we winched him up and called it a party.
So you can call him in, like, so you make that call and he's just comes running?
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty dumb. I mean, it's like,
oh, really?
You know, yeah, no, they're really dumb. They can't hardly see. You know, they'll try to wind you. As long as you get the wind right, you know, you shouldn't have no issue. But yeah, calling a moose, I mean, once you call one in, it's like pistol whipping a blind kid. He's right there.
I did not know that. I've never moose hunted before, so I didn't know they were so stupid. But
yeah, you catch them on the good, terms and stuff. I mean, they're like a jacked up turkey. I mean, they'll, you just go silent and he'll start grunting more, trying to figure out where you're at, you know, and like the wind was kind of playing on this one. And that was the only one that really called in. I mean, it was the only one that called in because, it was the last day, and that's when I seen he had horns, I was shooting him. So, not terribly picky at that point. But
what was the weather like? Was it cool?
It was cool, but it was warm for that time of year. I mean, it was, in the 60s, hitting 70 in the sun and stuff. And so, they have a big old radio system out there for them log trucks going up and down the roads. And that's how everyone kind of bullshits with each other back and forth to the lodges. And man, they'd get on them radios at night when we're headed back and like, yeah, this place sucks. We haven't seen nothing. It's the toughest year for moose hunting. And I think that check station we went into, they'd only check like 27% of moose as far as normal, and so it's pretty warm. But then when it's warm, then they're blaming, I mean, shit, the governor, I mean,
yeah,
everyone, and the mosquitoes and the log trucks and Al Gore and whoever they can name that's why the moose weren't cooperating. But
it is crazy warm here right now. Like, it's going to be in the upper 80s and 90s. I was watching that football game last night, and they were even talking about how unseasonably warm it was there in Buffalo last night. Like, there's still people out on lake. It was
snowed here last night, and it was a heavy frost. Last night was the first frost of the year we've had that's been real heavy.
What are the leaves like right now? Are they changing?
Yeah, it's about peak, red and gold and whatnot out here right now.
I just hold off for a couple more days for me.
Yeah, it probably will. I mean, this frost last night is going to speed everything up. You probably have a week left, and then it starts dropping off pretty quick.
You better hurry and get up there.
I'm going Sunday.
Hey, what the ocellated turkey? Have you ever hunted those before? Or is this going to be your first year?
It's going to be my first time. I've sent a few guys down there with a guy. I've not been too big on the turkeys the last little while, and then this last couple of years I kind of get bored, and I've been running around knocking off states. I did 6-7 states this spring, and finished up my slam and all that stuff. So something to do.
Well, I've heard like there's no calling to them. Is that right, or is that bullshit?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can, but it's a real hard noise to make. I guess it's not normal. I guess you can kind of turkey cluck them in. Most people are shooting them out of a damn cornfield driving down the road.
Oh, right. How are you going to try to do it?
Don't let them bullshit you.
How are you going to try to do it? You going to try to do it the traditional way, or are you just going to put one on the ground?
Man, I don't care. I'll shoot one off the porch or the house. He feeds them up there at the porch. I'm actually pretty big. I'm going kind of early to hunt brocket deer.
What is that?
They're like a little jungle deer.
Brocket deer. I've never even heard of them.
Little spike type thing. They're size of a dog type of deal and hunting in the jungle. So I'm going early, so their capes are a little better and stuff. So I mean, obviously oscillate's important, but I'd really like a brocket deer more, I guess.
Oh, they're like a little dick.
Yeah, pretty little diker type thing. Yep.
That's the same as the sika deer they have on the East Coast, isn't it? Or sika?
No, not really. I've killed them too. I've killed them in Maryland. Them sika deer.
Do they have regular forked horns, or do they have just the spikes like these do?
The sika deer have spikes. I killed like a decent 6-point.
Okay, but the brocket deer is just like a
little spike,
just like an ocelot or something. I mean, or not an ocelot, a oryx, just two little, but they don't grow very tall.
No, they're pretty little. Yeah.
What do you do with the meat when you're down there? You cape it out, you give it to people, or are you eating on it?
No, they give it out, and good thing they do. I mean, most of that deer and stuff are kind of terrible.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just they're not eating nothing too fatty. You know, there's not a lot of fat. Even the deer that are on the, you know, on the feeders or something like that they're not getting fat by no means. You know, and they're plenty happy to take it, and we're plenty happy to give it to them.
Right.
15 pounds.
That's it?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
fuck.
They're just size of a big jackrabbit.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I've never even heard of these before. Now, have you ever shot a chakalaka? Is that how they say it?
No, I haven't, but they got them there too. Them and them greater curassows. And then I want a couple of them Cootamundis too, the little raccoon dog looking deals. So.
Cootamundi.
I've seen them before. We saw some chakalaka in Puerto Vallarta this year at the resort, and that's the first time I'd ever seen one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how much moose meat did you get? How many pounds?
Well, so the moose I shot this year in Maine, he weighed like 867, whole body, or, you know, dressed. And I just brought back some backstrap and tenderloin. But my Alaska moose last year, it took me 2 days packing meat out by myself.
God.
To get it all back to the truck. Had to make 9 trips.
Fuck.
About 2 miles one way. And when I got it all out, I didn't really weigh all of the meat I brought in. I'd weigh front shoulders. The front shoulders were 130 pounds each.
Whew.
And all my meat total was 720 pounds of cut and wrap meat at the house.
Good Lord. That is a chore. 2 days of packing that shit out?
Yeah, I took the day I killed him, it took me 8 hours to cut him up, quarter him, and put him in bags, you know, and then drag the bags, you know, a couple hundred yards away from the carcass and stuff. Because there was a bear in there right when I shot him. And then took 2 loads out that day, and then went back in and took 5 loads out the next day, and then 2 loads the next day. So,
were you worried about bears the whole time?
So there was a bear right when I shot him, because I glassed him up. And so I drew a tag in there, and it's from the road system, and it's archery only for like 5 miles on each side of that road. And I glassed him up about 4 miles kind of up the road. So I went up, you know, and then kind of got parallel with him and glassed him right as he bedded. And then I put a stalk together on him, got up there, and he stood up kind of randomly, and the wind was perfect for me. And he kind of started moving towards me, actually. And when I shot him, and I went over the hill to watch him where he went. Well, now there was like a, you know, just a puffball grizz, like 2-3-year-old young bear. And as soon as he seen me, he ran 10 miles the other way. I mean, I seen him going over ridges, just gone, you know. And so I didn't see all that much bear sign going in there. And so I wasn't, you know, terribly worried. But when I went in that second morning, there was like 8 wolves camped on that carcass. And where it's archery only, I just left my bow in the truck, you know, and I had my pistol. But they were 150 yards away, but they couldn't have cared less. You know, I probably could have slipped in there with my bow and tried one, but I was more worried about getting that meat out and all that.
What will, whenever the wolves take it over, will bears run them off, or are they typically, once the wolves have it, the wolves have it?
It probably depends on the bear. You know, the bear that was there was just a young bear, so I imagine them wolves run him off, you know. You know, kind of a goofy looking bear, big head, big feet, look like a teenage boy, you know. So
did you hear a lot of wolves when you were there, or was that the first time whenever they got on the carcass that you noticed that they were there?
I didn't really hear them in the night, so I just ended up sleeping at the road down there and whatnot. I had a whole plan to camp and all this, and you know, that went out the door as soon as I seen a moose. But they didn't really make hardly any noise, you know, no big howling and stuff. I imagine there's probably a lot of wolves in that area because where it's archery only and people ain't gonna be killing them. I imagine they keep quiet, you know, and try to keep them other wolves off it, you know.
Did you do you have like a sat phone or anything when you're in the bush of Alaska?
Yeah, I have like an inReach deal. You know, you can send satellite text. Now I have one of them mini Starlinks that I take everywhere. I had it in Maine, and you know, plug it into a cigarette lighter and have Elon everywhere.
Does that thing work pretty good?
I like it. Yeah, I mean, I have like a suction cup into the windshield of my truck, and it rides kind of all the time there. You know, I mean, right here where I live, 10 minutes that way is a canyon, no service. 20 minutes that way is a canyon, no service. And so I leave it on while I'm driving, and it's constant service everywhere you go.
It's like the size of a tablet, isn't it? Like an iPad?
Yeah, it's like a square foot type deal, and $50 a month or whatever it is.
That's crazy.
They make such good stuff. That's like what we run here, and we had our problems earlier this morning. We had to restart it twice, but luckily, and I'm sure it'll shut off here in a second now, we didn't have no problems.
Yeah. I've had issues with the power cords. I've been replacing cords and what. Like in the summer, I do a lot of construction and stuff, so I had like a magnet mount, and I'd be in a water truck or a grader or a dozer or whatever, and I'd have it on the roof of that deal while I was driving around working. So I'm sure it's a little rough on the power cords and stuff.
Well, you live in a beautiful part of the world, I'm telling you right now. It's kind of crazy, though, because it's kind of rugged beauty and not real pretty, and then all of a sudden it's beautiful again, and then it's high desert. And
Yep. I live kind of on the edge of the high desert stuff where it gets, before it turns pretty. There's not all that many trees. There's not really any trees on my property that I hunt elk. A lot more willows and bottomland type country that we hunt the elk on.
Do you have to worry about bears at your house?
No, not at all. There was one little black bear in here last year, but he's about 80 pounds.
I saw where 2 people have been killed by black bears in Missouri or Arkansas in the last month.
I seen an Arkansas one just the other day.
Yeah, it was Arkansas then. They've had 2 people get killed by bears, and you just don't think about bears as doing that kind of stuff. I do, because we don't have bears here officially.
Yeah.
But if I see a bear, I think, oh shit, he's gonna try to eat my lunch. Guys like you don't even worry about, like when you're in Maine, those black bears don't even faze you.
No, not at all. No, they're not going to do anything really.
That's what those people in Arkansas thought.
I'm sure you look into it. I'm sure they were trying to take a picture, or,
right.
They had a bunch of food and the bear got into the food. That's one of the worst things that you could do is a bear gets into your camp while you're gone.
Right.
Gets a little snack. You get back and try to kick him out of there, and he's like, well, bitch, it's my food,
Did you see the picture of the fucking polar bear in the the Eskimos tent?
Oh yeah, yeah. I've seen them. I've had clients and stuff go on polar bear hunts, and that's pretty wild.
That picture's got these 3 Indian dudes or Eskimo dudes or whatever they are. And there's a freaking polar bear dead, blood all over him. They shot him right at their feet coming through the door of their tent.
Oh yeah, yeah.
For some reason, my TikTok's showing me grannies feeding bears, and I don't know if it's AI. Like right now, you can't tell anything. You can't tell anything for sure. But it was like it was police footage, and this old lady, there's this bear at her porch, and he's like, "Ma'am, it's illegal for you to feed wildlife." She's like, "No, sir, this is Benny, and I've been watching after him for the last 8 seasons, and I keep him fed during the winter, so you can just leave."
Yeah, Benny will end up eating her ass.
That's what the cop said, but I don't know if this video's real or not. But lately, TikTok has been like, if it is AI, it tells you it's AI. So I don't know.
It's amazing more people don't get ate in Yellowstone when they get grizzlies and they get out and get their cameras and start taking a picture, and they're 30 yards from a grizzly bear. If that grizzly bear wants them, there's nothing they can do.
Oh yeah, imagine, bear's been chasing deer or buffalo all day, and like these bitches are fast, and sees some old pot-gutted lady, and like I could grab that in an instant.
That's exactly
I don't know why
right.
there's not more.
Yeah, I'm the same way. You see these videos, and they're like, or the people that get up there next to them big bull elk around Mammoth or whatever that is, and they're rutting and they're taking pictures. That some bitch going to eat your ass.
Oh yeah, yeah. I like they get by them buffalo and whatnot. They get tossed by the buffalo. You got to be just special kind of stupid to, sneak up, not even sneak up, try to get that close to some stupid animal like that. It's nothing I would do.
I don't get the fascination with buffaloes, with people getting to take pictures of them. It's a fucking cow from the Indian days.
They're cool. That's what I, grew up kind of hunting and stuff, I guess, was the buffalo down home in Utah. But, yeah, as far as people going out of the way and stopping traffic, take a picture of a damn buffalo, I don't get it.
It's a Hereford, just with shaggy hair. And they're good eating. I understand why people hunt them, and I understand why people eat them.
Yep.
I just don't understand the fascination of taking a picture with them. That's what gets me. Like it'd be like some school kids in New York City seeing a dairy cow. Oh, let's get a picture with the dairy cow.
It's Americana, Jeff. People want it on their Instagram.
Oh yeah.
I don't understand that.
If you don't get a picture with one, did you even go to Yellowstone?
It never happened if you don't get a picture with it, Jeff. So when you're in Yellowstone next week, you got to get your picture with the buffalo.
Not happening. Not happening, I guarantee you.
I'm reading the comments here, and nobody's saying that this is AI. And she's spoon feeding Benny.
Spoon feeding him?
Yeah, he's chill. He's right next to her.
No.
It's Benny. Leave fucking Benny
Let me see
alone,
Benny.
Jeff. Leave Benny alone.
That's a grizzly bear too.
I know, but it's Benny.
That's got to be.
wild.
That has to be fake. There is no way in hell.
I'm reading the
lady
comments.
is spoon feeding a grizzly bear.
She said, "I've looked after him for the last 8 winters. You can leave."
For
Benny's,
being a brown bear, that's even more surprising.
like I said, it's got 3 million hearts and
There's no.
58,000 comments, and nobody has said, "Bro, this is AI" yet. And usually those people are quick in the comment section.
Well, Benny will end up eating Granny before it's all over.
Hope maybe
yeah.
maybe it is AI, but usually I can kind of tell.
Benny will have a bad day, and Granny will have a worse day. That's what's gonna. That's going to end up happening. So, how did you start hunting in? So you're shooting desert bighorn down in Mexico,
Yes, sir.
and is the biggest desert bighorn in the world. Are they in Mexico?
Yeah, I mean they're killing some in Arizona that are a lot better, score wise. Some of the high fence places in Mexico are cranking out some giants. Tiburon Island is, but as far as true legit desert bighorns, it's probably just average in Mexico. I mean, we kill some studs. I mean, I killed one last year with my bow that was, like number 14 with a bow, 177-inch sheep or whatever. So, some great ones, some good color to them and stuff like that.
How far are you from the Copper Canyon,
As far as
mileage wise? Where you hunting? That's down by Guadalajara, north of there. I think it's big, second biggest canyon in the world. I think outside the Grand Canyon.
Oh, I'm only like 4 hours. So you talk about Puerto Penasco. I'm only like 2 hours south of there.
Okay.
So I'm not that far down there, and we can see the coast from a couple of our hills on the ranch. We can look out there and see the ocean and stuff. We've hunted right down to the ocean too.
Do y'all, what have you found anything weird there? Like any artifacts, not drug shit, just anything weird down there?
We found some like shallow graves and stuff up by the border once, and it's not really all that uncommon. But these ones, for some reason, the guys we were with kind of started acting all weird and was acting like it was more Indian type stuff, and kind of got away with it. Normally, like the shallow graves, they might just dig a bigger hole with a backhoe and push them in there, and try to do a little bit right by them. But these ones were more Indian type stuff, had more rocks stacked up around them. But other than that, no, I found, pistols, found couple pistols, couple old guns, out in the woods, but that's about it. Because scariest is finding some dude on top of a mountain when you climb up there in the dark and there's a guy up there living that's a spotter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He speak much to you, or?
Oh yeah. It was probably the first week I worked down there. There's some old volcano chutes, big old steep volcano deals there, and guys work for is like, yeah, climb that, before daylight and watch this direction. We're going to be driving around, see if you can see a deer and, drive us in on it. And I get up there in the middle of the dark, just getting set up, got my chair, my little tripod, and this dude puts his hand on my shoulder in the pitch black.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You want some coffee? Like pretty decent
God.
English. And that, holy fuck, I about fell off the hill, and just some old dude, looks like he's 140 because he lives in the sun, and he's like, yeah, you want coffee and a joint? I'm like, I don't really consider either of those, and I don't see why you do that. It counteract, I guess. And every time I'd be up there later and stuff, and he'd always be up there, have some cans of beans and a little living up there, and always offer coffee. And I never tried. I hate coffee myself, and he'd use my spotter every once in a while to like look at a pickup that was coming on the road and get on a radio and say something. That was about it.
So do you speak Spanish?
Enough to not get shot,
Enough to get by?
Nothing. Yeah, I mean, nothing crazy. I usually always hire a translator, have someone to come with us that I try to trust,
It's an easy language to learn, though.
It's real tough. Like it's like Hick Spanish. It's not, you can't get on.
It's not formal Spanish
or Babbel or whatever and learn it, because nothing, you try rattling off some sentence down there and they just look at you like you're the idiot.
Right.
I can figure out what they're saying to me usually.
Yeah. Yeah. I can understand a lot more than I can really put together saying.
Whenever the first driver we had, he didn't speak English. Every time his phone went off, I was like, this motherfucker's plotting.
Yeah.
Andy's
Well,
nervous.
don't let them fool you. They understand a lot more than they'll tell you they will.
Yeah.
Andy's negative Nancy anyways, though. He worries a lot about shit.
I do. Well, I don't worry. I just have a plan.
Yeah.
I'm just prepared.
What's your preparedness in Mexico? And nothing you can do.
I pulled up the location. I pulled up the location of the resort we were going to. I knew we did not have to get off of the highway. It's a straight shot. We're going to turn left up here in 50 miles. If he starts taking us down back roads,
What was you going to do?
fucking get in his ear and tell the motherfucker to get back on the highway.
You know what's funny? Or not funny, but this is the reality of the situation. Jesse's a beautiful gal.
She is.
She's going to have a whole lot worse outcome into her life than you are down there.
But if I can get to the
Because
guy,
you're like him. You're rape proof.
if I can get to the guy before he takes us there and let him know, like, it's just you and me for a little bit here, and this is not going to be pleasant for you because I'm behind you, and I know how to sink this choke in and make it not very fun. So you got a little bit to decide.
See, that's your skills right there, huh?
What are you going to do? You going to just get and even then I'm gonna fucking choke the guy out before we get very far off.
Well, I got you there, but you just there ain't much you can do down there.
No, there's not. But you got to at least have a little bit of a plan. You just going to let him fucking sit there and take you?
Here, take my wife and let me go.
I mean, is that your plan? Just
No.
whatever. Just take us down there and let him fucking
They're
cap
not-
me in the back of the head.
They're not going to jack with you.
I know that, but you can still have a plan.
So, have you gotten any situations when it's just you back on the? I'm assuming you have a vehicle down there you're driving
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
by yourself sometimes.
Oh, yeah. A lot of time. Mm-hmm.
Have you not on the road? People coming at you. You don't ever worry about a rival cartel or someone wanting your vehicle.
I've run into guys and, a lot of time just have, being respectful attitude. Like I've been told like to go to a ranch and, there's no signs and it's a dirt road here and whatnot. And, going and trying to check out a new property and I've been lost before and run into the wrong people and just talk to them best you can, admit you're stupid.
Yep.
Sorry, whatever. And having a positive attitude about it goes a long, long ways. I mean, a lot of them don't want much issues either, and whatnot, but
God, I'd be so nervous if that happened to me. I don't like getting fucking lost out here.
right. One of the worst ones, we was down there. No, I mean, it wasn't bad. It was actually like truly terrifying inside. We was way down these dirt roads, like 100 miles down dirt roads on a ranch. And it was like that when Elon first launched that first spaceship thing.
Oh, right.
And there's that big old cloud. I mean, they just did one recently, a couple days ago, big old like light cloud and stuff. And it was just getting dark and we was getting back to the ranch and we was on the wrong spot and, running away to get back to where we needed to be. And that thing piped off. And all the guys that we knew down there were freaking out, praying. Everyone didn't know what it was. I mean, had no satellite, no service, no nothing at the time. And for some reason, I was trying to in-reach text people what was going on. And we didn't know if we was getting bombed or invaded. And it was like overnight and into the next day before I think a guy come driving down the road from town that knew what it was.
Yeah, we saw that here. We saw that here, and same thing. Like everybody in town's like, "What is going on west of Knox City?"
Oh yeah, imagine being out in
Right.
shithole Mexico with no service, no talking to no one, not knowing anything what's going on, and that thing going through the sky. That was scary for different reasons, but that was weird.
Well,
and then them guys freak out and superstitious as all hell all the time anyway. So
Yeah, and then it shot off like you said, like this mist shoots off at it, and I'm like, this is we are legit getting invaded right now. This is these are aliens coming.
yeah.
And then but even to your point, like even here in America, it was a couple hours before started seeing on Facebook and Twitter, like, okay, it's just it's Starlink re-entering the atmosphere or whatever. But there were a lot of people here that thought, okay, well, we're gonna see little green men here anytime now, so load up, boys.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was probably the only one that slept that night. It's like, what am I going to do about it?
Yeah.
And them guys were freaking the fuck out. It was kind of funny, really, watching them just talk and worry about aliens and praying. And, these dudes haven't prayed a day in their life and they're clutching beef and shit like that. And
Hard to find an atheist in a foxhole.
But it is crazy.
Yeah.
Like whenever you think about the Spaniards landing on the beach and like they've got this body armor on and horses and all sorts of shit. Because that was one thing our guide said is they had horses here, but they were all real small. They were all small horses. So when the Spaniards came with these fucking things that are 8 feet tall. Like they're like, what the hell is this? And they've all got on this silver body armor, and they're like, what is on our beaches right now?
Oh yeah.
But I guess that's kind of how they duped them too, though. They figured out.
Yeah, they convinced them they was like gods type of deal.
Yeah. They figured out their religion and figured out what they were afraid of, and they were like, no, I am him. So you got to bring me all your gold and all your virgins so that you can appease me.
And here's these blankets with smallpox. Good luck.
Enjoy them. Enjoy them. They'll keep you warm for a little bit.
Yeah. It'd be real warm for a minute.
Don't worry about the shit popping up on your skin.
Yeah.
So how many months out of the year do you hunt?
Anymore, I'm pretty swamped August through into February. February just kind of depends. I used to do a lot of that unlimited snow goose stuff in Arkansas. Used to hunt with a guy, guided for him a couple times, out there, and that's kind of slowed down. That ain't as fun as it used to be.
No,
it doesn't seem like. Just so much bullshit with it, and so I hunt a place in Alabama for deer, and we run deer season till like February 10th, and so I'm in there hunting deer till then, and then usually kind of make my way home.
Put on some fucking miles during hunting season.
Oh yeah. I have a 2-year-old truck that's got 130,000 miles on it.
Good Lord, I don't doubt it. Mexico to Maine to Bama to Idaho to, and then and then you said this last spring you knocked off 6 states for turkey hunting.
Yeah, I did like Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and then I did out here like Colorado, New Mexico, Utah, Oregon, Idaho.
Which state did you enjoy hunting the most in turkey hunting?
North Idaho's got some of the most turkeys I've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of gotten real popular. There was an article on, I can't remember, Realtree or something, a couple years ago about like the densest populations of turkeys, and they highlighted North Idaho, Eastern Washington, and that's gotten pretty bad up there. But I mean, Maine has a lot of birds. New Hampshire is really cool. It was really pretty, really, really green and stuff. But it's kind of weird out there. You can just hunt wherever, like people's stuff that's not marked, stuff like that. If it's not marked, you can just go hunt it. And we asked a couple guys if we could hunt, and they were like, why are you hunting? So we have a Biden sticker and a Prius in the yard. I just wanted to double check with you. And stop asking, just shoot them. Like,
oh, okay.
It was kind of weird, but it rained the whole time we was out there, so that was a little rough. But
where were you at in Vermont?
New Hampshire.
Oh, in New Hampshire. Where were you at in New Hampshire?
Like up north of Portsmouth.
Like by did you go into the White Mountains?
No, we was southeast. I mean, we wasn't much over the line. I mean, we hit everything kind of right there close, in a circle, hit Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, right in a pretty tight circle where we could.
I've spent a lot of time over there. I can't imagine knocking on doors there trying to get to hunt with all them damn liberals. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't, I'll talk to anyone, and everyone we talked to was cool about it, whatever. They didn't care. They didn't want us hunting deer. So, well, that's 6 months away. So,
yeah.
And like a couple of people were like, why? Like I told, ran into some people at like a restaurant one night and was talking to them, and they're like, yeah, we got turkeys all over. Come hunt them. And like, why the hell you come from Idaho to shoot a fucking turkey out here?
Different places.
Man, I don't, I'm asking myself the same thing. I don't, I don't.
Some good groceries over there on that side of the state.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love the Northeast.
Yeah, it's pretty cool up that way. I mean, I love hunting them Gould's turkeys down there. They're so aggressive. They don't get called at. They're pretty easy to hunt, really, but they're big and they're so pretty. All that white on them and stuff.
Is the turkeys that you're going to shoot in Mexico? That's ocelotted, right?
The ocellated are like them blue ones down in Cancun.
Cancun in the Yucatan. How big are they? They the size of a regular turkey?
No, I think they're a little bit smaller. About half, I think. I think they're only about 12, 15 pounds tops.
And that's the ones that people just shoot out of the roost, don't they, sometimes?
A lot of times, because that's the only time you can see them when they go up in the tree. Yep.
Damn jaguar will eat your ass down there.
Mm-hmm.
I hope so.
Have you ever seen a
jaguar?
jaguar?
I went with some guys a few years ago tracking. They took dogs and chasing jaguars and put radio collars on them over in Guadalajara.
Uh-huh.
And that was pretty cool. They, them them cats are crazy. I mean, they're just going through swamps and stuff. I mean, everyone we caught, we kind of lucked out. They got to like a dry island, and caught them. And we
How'd
got
you
in there and
catch 'em?
darted them.
How'd you? Oh,
What's that?
y'all darted them then, so they would tree for the dogs, and then you would dart them.
Yep.
Okay.
Dart them. Yep. The tricky part was like keeping them from drowning. Like we dart one and they'd jump out of the tree, and if they took off or whatever, a lot of times they just climb higher in the tree and then fall asleep and fall out of the tree. And we had a couple that would jump out of the tree and then take off, and we'd have to chase them. And then they're half drunk and risk of drowning if they get in the water and stuff. And that was kind of tricky with them. But
Boy, it takes a hell of a man to jump on a drowning jaguar to try to save his ass.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
How big are they?
They're not, they're not all that big, but they're real dense. I mean, a big one's only like 120, 130 pounds, whereas
Solid
some of
muscle.
our mountain lions. What's that?
Solid ass muscle.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they are a ball of fire. I mean, I've killed a lot of mountain lions out here. We've had some 160, 170 pounds. 180 pounds is huge. Someone tells you they kill a 200-pound mountain lion, they're full of shit.
Okay.
There's no such thing. I mean, it's the biggest cats I've ever seen. Huge cats. 8-foot plus cats, and they're weighing them out 184 pounds. I mean, that's a giant cat. So, but yeah, comparatively, I mean, them little jaguars are just a ball of static. I mean, they're wound tight too.
Do you see the bunch of them where you hunt in Mexico?
No, I've seen a couple when I've kind of went adventuring on the like Chihuahua border and down south, kind of in the big mountains. I had one call in to a turkey set one day. Was just kind of going down a river bottom, striking out, trying to find turkeys, just clucking, and had one come out of the trees towards us and stuff. And then actually we ran one over one day down south, down towards Sinaloa more. But
because they're seeing some of them in Arizona now, New Mexico.
Yeah,
along
I
the
know some
border.
guys in New Mexico that's caught them with their dogs and stuff. Not near as often as people hope or whatever, but in a way too. Hopefully it doesn't get too bad, because then they'll shut down the dog hunting in New Mexico and Arizona or something.
What about the jaguandas? Have you run into those?
Jaguarundis?
Yeah, or however you say it.
No, I mean, I've never really seen any of those. I've seen an ocelot in Texas several years ago when I was down. I drew one of them public hunts down towards South Padre Island.
Uh-huh.
I drew that archery deal down there and went down and shot nilgai on that refuge. Seen an ocelot down there in the road.
The Atacosta or whatever they call that place.
Yeah, Laguna Atascosa. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you know they're having problems with warthogs down there now?
That's what I've heard. They're starting to escape, and like if they breed, I can't remember. Are they real mean or something like that?
Yeah, they said getting to be a lot of them, and they're starting to see a lot more of them, and they're real aggressive.
Really? That's
Yep.
wild.
Start shooting them.
They are, but they're just breeding, and they burrow up. I mean, so the thermals at nighttime, if they're burrowed up, you ain't gonna see them.
Right.
But they're starting to be a real problem down there. They say.
Huh.
I heard some place, because they have Cape Buffalo in a few places down there, and I heard one place they all got cut loose during that big ice storm a couple years
Oh,
ago.
fuck. That's just what we need.
Yeah.
A guy killed they killed a really weird animal.
I'd have to look at his Instagram.
What a boom or something. It was some weird. It was a weird animal from Africa, and he told me
Bongo?
That's it right there, a bongo. And he
Them are
said,
beautiful.
"Do what?
Them are beautiful. That's
Yes.
like my dream animal.
It's got the
there.
white stripes on it and stuff."
Yeah.
Anyways, he told me that I said, "That's weird. It must have got out." He said they don't know where it came from, but they think that a lot of the big flooding they had in South Texas, a lot of those safari type high fence places, those animals got out and they're going everywhere now.
Yeah.
That's a big animal, like a nail guy too, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're even bigger than nilgai than bongo are.
He said it ate good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. All that stuff is actually pretty tasty.
Anyways, if I was driving down the road and seen one of them, I'd be like, "What the hell is that?"
Oh, yeah. The first time I ever really went down Texas, down around, Junction and what do they call that, like Golden Triangle over there, Sonora, Texas
yeah.
and stuff. And I was driving down there to go axis deer hunting and, drove in the middle of the night, and there was a damn kudu come walking down the road. And, what the hell? And I texted that guy. or I drove past it and I texted him and I seen one. He's like, well, shoot it, like some of that stuff ain't supposed to be just roaming free,
Right.
Yeah, you could have a hell of a time just driving around shooting stuff in the bar ditch down there.
We had some.
I don't know if you're not supposed to talk about this.
The elk?
Yes. I wouldn't advertise that.
They're fucking everywhere. All you gotta do is go north of town.
I just wouldn't advertise that on a podcast.
No, but what I'm saying is somebody hit one. And like you said, shit's just not supposed to be running. You're not looking for an elk in the middle of West Texas. They plowed one.
There's tons of elk out that way. We've hunted oddad over like Marfa and Fort Davis and stuff.
But we're a long way from there.
Central West Texas, where we are. But like my entire life, you've never had to worry about that driving down the road, and now you do because all these high fence places are popping up.
Well, these are all wild, free ranging ones now.
They are now, right? But
Southwest Oklahoma's got a big herd of wild elk that have gotten. They used to be just at the Wichita Mountains, and now all the outlying areas around there, they've got elk everywhere. And the farmers hate them. They do tons of damage compared to what a deer does.
Oh, they do. I mean, they average up here to Idaho. The state kind of comes out with a rhetoric of an elk eats 17 pounds of alfalfa a day.
Oof.
And my place here, we average 600-700 head of elk for 4 or 5 months of the year.
That's a lot of alfalfa.
Yeah. That still blows my mind. Not everyone wants to lease their ground for hunting. They just let them sit out there and eat and whistle at them.
What is moose real prevalent where you are? Do y'all have a lot of moose too?
I have a few here. Yeah. I have about 8-9 of them kind of running around. There's some small bulls and stuff and cows, but
you don't see them in wheat fields and alfalfa fields, do you?
You will down towards, that Swan Valley stuff over there towards Jackson, Afton, over in there. You'll see them out in the middle of a wheat field. Same with like, Southeast Washington, Western Idaho over there, Grangeville. They'll have pictures of big old moose sitting out in a rolling wheat field. So
you're around like Jackson whole area, you'll see them in the wheat?
Yeah, I mean, you won't see all that many moose around Jackson anymore. The wolves and stuff are so damn bad over there. You don't see anything. That's why people take pictures of the buffalo, because that's the only damn animal you see when you drive through the park anymore.
Right.
But you come south, south towards Alpine Junction and stuff, and hop over to Idaho, Swan Valley, Teutonia and stuff. You'll see moose driving down the road out in the fields.
Is the wolf problem starting to level off, or are they still just running rampant?
It's worse and worse, constantly. I mean, you hear what all these bleeding heart bastards say about it, but they claim that like the population of all the wolves is like 1,500 in like the greater Yellowstone area. That's what they manage it for and whatnot. Idaho killed like 1,500 wolves just themselves last year. I know a guy here that trapped 26 last winter.
Fuck.
I'm staying around Victor, so I'm going to go down to Swan Valley because I want to see some moose.
That's some real pretty area there. You go through, there's a Teutonia Pass, Victor. Yes. Driggs, even if you got crazy, went up towards like Island Park, Henry's Lake, up in there, you're going to see some moose, even if, maybe not driving the road, you might have to glass and whatnot, but you wouldn't even think it out there. A lot of the moose are out in the sagebrush, the little quaky bumps stuff. So.
I'm gonna make that drive one day because I want to see some moose. Yeah. The fucking wolves deal. That's in these states that just bring these wolves in. It just blows my mind that who in the hell thinks that's a good idea. And I've said this before on here, if I lived in an area that had wolves, I'd gut shoot them some bitches every time I seen one. I would never tell a soul.
Well, the hard part is they've got like a caravan of people following them. That stuff over in Colorado where they dropped him off. That one Maine rancher that's kind of putting his voice out there is a good friend of mine, Con, and you can't figure out the damage that they're doing. The stress on the cows. They're going to be slipping babies. Not putting on the weight they need to be doing. They kill a cow or whatnot. They might not kill it outright. They might run it to death and it dies. They're not getting paid for that cow. But then the way that they went around it so ass backwards. There's been wolves there, and there's going to be wolves there forever. I mean, they're naturally, few and far between. But there's wolves naturally in Colorado. But then they go and get these wolves and no one would give them to them because everyone knew it was a shitbag idea. So the wolves they got are from Oregon that were already depredated wolves that were chasing cows.
Mm-hmm.
They caught them that they were problem wolves and trying to relocate them. Then they throw them in Colorado. Oh, I don't know why that son bitch is eating a cow. Well, that's what he was fucking eating last week in Oregon.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, that's just, they say the science and all this shit. There's no science to it. You know, all the claims of Yellowstone's healthier because of the wolves, because the elk ain't knocking down the fucking willows, shit on the creek banks or whatever. That's a damn joke. You know, I drive through Yellowstone several times a year, going back and forth hunting, and you don't see anything but buffalo. You don't see elk anymore. You'll see them up around, you know, Mammoth or whatever, you know, where they're at type of deal. But you don't see anything but buffalo and wolves and bears.
Do you think that they'll ever reverse this, or is there even anything to reverse now? I mean, you think the problem's so bad?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, them wolves are not going to take off, you know. I mean, you get in ranching communities and, yeah, you know, shoot, shovel, shut up type of deal. They're never going to take off to where they're going to be too prevalent, I don't think.
Yeah.
You know, but when they're collared, every one of them, and they're kill collars, and then they're, you know, they're hanging these guys that, you know, are shooting them out of depredation or whatever, you know, or the guys that are shooting the Colorado wolves on the Wyoming side. You know, there was a guy that, you know, they was threatening to burn his house down and shit like that because they found out he was one of the ones that shot old Freckles the wolf. It's like, you know, we got to start standing up and dealing with these people that are, you know, pushing that type of stuff on you.
Yeah. And I think the best way is just show the death of an elk. Show what they like. It's a horrific death.
Yeah. No, it's wild that people don't, you know, well, that's nature. Well, okay. Well, so nature is also man, you know, is it not? You know, nature is man making a living for himself. You can't have a living for cattle and stuff like that if you have wolves eating their ass every night.
Right.
You can't have a conversation with a liberal anyways on anything.
About nothing. I don't matter. No. Wolves, politics, transgender, which bathroom to piss in, whatever. You can't have a reasonable, you know, non-emotional conversation.
I cannot stand the Obamas. But if Michelle Obama would have the same thing happen to her that did Charlie Kirk, I would have said that's a horrible tragedy. You don't do that to people.
100%.
The left, 100%. Though, they think, you've seen all the millions of people that stood up that, he deserved that shit. You don't see nobody on the right side. I mean, there might be a very extreme person, but people on our side just don't do that crap. You know, we're not going around politically shooting people and stuff, but they you can't reason or you can't have a conversation with them because they're too fucking stupid. That's the bottom line. They're just fucking stupid. I got in an argument with a guy in Crested Butte, Colorado 40 years ago. I was 18, 19 years old, and we went in there and this guy was bitching about oil. I was from Texas, so I had to hear this rant about oil. And then he tried to sell me a fucking bumper sticker about how oil is so bad. I go, where are you gonna put that bumper sticker on your fucking back? You know, you're bitching about oil and shit, and you're selling bumper stickers, trying to make money off of it to put on a car.
Yeah,
you know, and so it just and back then his conversation too is we ought to do away with hunting and get more wolves and more. That was his answer back then.
Less hunting, more wolves.
Yeah, no hunters and just let wolves take care and let nature go back to the. Well, good. You eat fucking lettuce and grow your own shit and get rid of them leather shoes you're wearing and everything else.
That's the thing. There's just no reasoning with them, you know, on any topic, you know, and it's just a different class of people, you know. I mean, Obama could show up here and want to go fishing, and I could spend the day fishing with him.
Yeah.
You know, but if I tried to go hang out with, you know, some purple head freaks in town or whatever, they'd yell and scream at you and throw shit at you, you know, whatever. You know, there's a difference, and it comes back to, like, you know, a respectable person and how you can handle yourself about talking to someone.
Yeah, you know? It blows my mind how far the way they act about stuff. And like I said, you can't reason with them. One of the best things ever said on TV is when Billy Bob Thornton on Landman talks about the evil parts of a windmill. And he talks about, you know, how much oil is used for that, and how much petroleum, and there's, you know, that windmill is 10 times worse for green energy than what it'll ever produce in its entire lifetime. But the left don't see that shit at all.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a well-known thing that the windmill will never generate enough energy to balance out the energy it took to create the windmill.
Yeah, but it goes in one ear and out the other.
Yeah.
That's
fine. I mean, if you want the windmills, that's fine, but you got to at least acknowledge that you're not
the negative side of it.
Yeah, you're not, you know. I mean, I know some people that have them that pump water or whatever, you know, stuff like that. I mean, that's fine. I mean, it's you know, it works. You know, they do work. Same with the solar and stuff. Yeah, they work fine. But do we need to be stripping off thousands of acres right outside of town? You know?
Mm-hmm.
I've never, if solar is the answer to everything, all that fucking wasteland between Los Angeles and Las Vegas that is nothing but desert. I mean, we're not talking where there's no elk. We're not talking bears. We're talking nothing around where they get all that borax and stuff north of Barstow and all that shit. Turn that shit into solid mirrors if it's so great. Energize the whole world with it on property that's not worth a shit for nothing else.
Yeah. Same with that, the public land push they had during that big, beautiful bill and all that shit. They was talking of selling off some public land, and I'm a big promoter of public land and, stuff like that. But you also have to look at some of that stuff reasonably. You don't let them get some of this shit land like you're talking that's not worth anything. It's salt flats, it's dead sagebrush, it's whatever. They're going to be coming after the good stuff before too long.
Right.
So why not have the conversations now with, an administration and a Senate or whatever that we can reason with and side with? Because if, the tables were flipped, you're not going to have those conversations. They are going to be selling the forest land, the land around the ski resorts, the land in towns. Why, when they put on this not 1 acre, platform or whatever, not one single acre we're selling. It's like, man, we can't figure out something. I drive between Mountain Home and Boise. There's 20 miles of just shit land. Mm-hmm. We can't. And then you get into Boise and you go down through some of the suburbs and there's some struggling farmer that still has 40 acres in the middle of town that's getting pushed out and priced out of his shit. He can't farm anymore because they're building houses. They're going to do it anyway. They've got to build the houses. You got to expand these cities because all these freaks moving in and whatever. Well, why not figure out how to get the first land they go after is the farmers on the edge of town, in the middle of town. Why not figure out some of these pieces of dirt out there that ain't worth a damn, throw some houses out there, or swap the damn farmers, give him a chunk of land. Let him go farm that outside of town a ways.
Well, most of the farmers around Dallas, Fort Worth, I don't feel sorry for them fuckers that they got 40 acres of land because they're selling it by the square foot for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. We were I was at Mansfield, Texas, the other day, south of Fort Worth, and there were some big, beautiful homes. I mean, $1 million homes. And right next to it was about 60 acres. This old farm rundown, looked like Granny Smith's old place, and it's surrounded by these big, nice houses. And I thought, that son of a bitch right there is holding out to the bitter end. And what sucks is Granny's going to die without a penny to her name, and her grandkids are going to sell that shit for tens of millions of dollars.
Or fight about it for years and probate.
Yes.
And, ruin the family.
Yeah. But you're right, though, about, there's a lot of places that we could put solar that's not going to disturb much. But
right.
And not good farmland too. They've taken up thousands of acres of good rice land in Arkansas. You can't tell me you can't find some shit somewhere else that's a whole lot better. Right. You can go north of Amarillo, between Amarillo and Pierre, South Dakota, and there is a lot of land that ain't got shit on it for miles. Just broomweed and sage and nothing. That would be makes a lot more sense than going to good farmland.
But then they got some fucking sage chicken with a third leg, or some spotted owl or something that lives out there, and that's the only spot he lives. Like, well, fuck. Yeah, I'm sorry. He drew the short end.
Yeah, the California had been a lot better off to kill him fucking smelt about 70 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Why are we
That'd been the best thing.
With them spotted owls for logging and all that. It's just mind blowing that people, they just don't understand how things work. They sit in their ivory tower in town and make the laws and decide what the people outside are going to do. Yep.
Sitting on their iPhones. Well, Hagan, we appreciate you being on here. It's been a wonderful visit. We'd like to have you on again sometime. You got a lot of adventures. We'd like to talk more with you. If you ever get to West Texas and want to come shoot some ducks and geese, you holler at us.
Central West Texas.
Central West Texas.
North Central. I usually go through there. I usually make a road trip. All my guys that kill elk out here, I store all their meat and then haul it to Georgia and South Carolina, Tennessee and stuff. And I make a road trip out there and drop elk meat off and heads, and usually hunt my way out there and hunt my way back. So.
And that's why you got 130,000 miles on your truck.
Well, you come by,
exactly.
You come by and see us, and we can shoot some specks and some ducks and have a good time this year. And you want to shoot a wild pig too, if you want to.
There you go. Give me a call when you're in Idaho if you need places to go check out or whatever.
I may holler at you when we get up that way, get an idea. I want to go see some moose. Michelle's never seen a moose, and so I'd like to really. That's one of the things. But I think we're going to be in that town that was right that place you told me earlier. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, you said Victor.
Victor.
Yeah.
I think we're pretty close to Victor, Idaho. Matter of fact, we might. I think our address might be in Victor, even where we're staying at.
That's a pretty area over there.
Matter of fact, it is in Victor. Right here, it says Victor, Idaho is where I'm going to be staying at.
There you go.
So I will definitely go check out that Swan Valley. Matter of fact, I can see. Yeah, it's not very far from our house.
Yeah, I'll just cruise some of them roads down through there. You're going to see a moose somewhere out in the fields somewhere.
Well, I'm damn sure going to do that, and I'll holler at you when we get out that way. I appreciate you. God bless you, and have a great day.
Be safe this hunting
well.
season.
Hey, thank
Good
you.
visiting with you.
Nice visit.
Bye.
Bye. That would be so cool. Could you imagine hunting and seeing some drug cartel guy in a velour jumpsuit with chains all over him?
I wouldn't make it.
Yeah, you'd be nervous. I'd be picking his brain. He'd shoot me for asking too many questions.
Yeah, you're.
Because I'd want to know something.
Why are you asking questions?
Yeah. So what kind of money do you make on a load of cocaine?
Right.
I'd ask lots of questions. Be an interesting guy. He would either love me or shoot me. There wouldn't be no end in between. If I come home there, we'd be best friends for life. Or you'd never see him from me again. Anyways, thank y'all for listening. Remember, go up and check out the Looking Glass Duck Club podcast. Check out Logan and Rebel. They're going to be on again here, hopefully this week. If it's raining, they're going to do it. We all need some damn rain. And the hunt will be November 10th, 11th, and 12th. 6 guys, 3 men for 3 mornings of waterfowl hunting.
6 guys, 3 men?
6 guys, 3 days.
Okay.
Getting to hunt with maybe Andy. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Anyways, holler at us. 940-658-3172. I still got some goose hunts. I got 3 deer hunts I need to sell still. If you want to shoot 130 to 150 inch whitetail, holler at me. Peace. Goodbye.
And watch for deer.